Abandoned. The stars were silent. A lone spacecraft floated in deep space, broken and quiet. Inside, a human woman lay against the control panel. Her name was Captain Alara Voss, a skilled pilot and former soldier. Blood ran down her forehead, but she was still alive. Barely. Sparks flew from a cracked screen. The air inside the ship was thin. Lights blinked slowly. The ship's power was dying. Alara opened her eyes. Her body ached. Her mind felt heavy, but she remembered everything. They left her. Her team, her own people, had abandoned her. 1 hour ago, they were on a rescue mission. Their ship had landed on a strange planet. The ground was shaking, the sky was red, and there were signs of alien technology buried deep underground. Alara had gone in first, scanning the area while the others waited. She found something. A signal. A strange humming sound deep in the caves. But when she tried to contact her crew, they didn't answer. She ran back outside, just in time to see the ship take off. "Wait," she shouted through the comms. "I'm still down here." But there was only silence. The engines roared. The ship vanished into the sky. Alara was alone. Somehow she had managed to find an old escape pod hidden in the alien ruins. It was old, damaged, but it worked. She launched it just before the planet's surface exploded. The shockwave threw her into deep space. Now, drifting in the dark, she was alive, but alone. Alara coughed and sat up. Her suit's oxygen level was low. Maybe 30 minutes left. Her fingers moved across the controls trying to send a signal. Any signal. Someone had to be out there. Then, the console beeped. Her eyes widened. A signal. A real one. But it was not human. The frequency was strange. The voice that followed was not in any known language, yet Alara understood it. Somehow the words reached her mind directly. "Please, help me." It was a cry for help. A weak voice almost lost in static. A voice that sounded young, afraid, female. Alara leaned closer. The signal repeated. "I'm alone. They are coming. Please help." She quickly traced the source. It was coming from a nearby moon. Cold, quiet, unmarked on any map. Her mind screamed for caution. She had no weapons. Her ship was broken. Her oxygen was low, but her heart said something else. "I won't leave someone behind," she whispered. "Just like they left you," a dark voice inside her said. She gritted her teeth and activated what little thruster she had. The ship turned slowly toward the moon. As she approached, her systems began to fail, one by one. She smiled bitterly. "This is stupid," she said to no one. "You're risking your life for a stranger." Still, she continued. The moon was covered in ice. White clouds swirled over deep craters. The signal grew stronger. As her ship entered the atmosphere, the engines failed. She braced for impact. The pod hit the ground hard, sliding across frozen rock. The glass cracked but did not shatter. Silence. Alara opened the hatch and stepped out, gasping at the cold. Her boots crunched on the ice. She followed her scanner toward the source. It led her to a cliffside, and a hidden entrance carved into the mountain. Strange symbols glowed faintly near the door. Inside was a long hallway of smooth black stone. Lights flickered as she walked. The air was warmer here. Alien machines lined the walls, humming softly. Then she saw it. At the center of the room was a large glass pod. Inside it floated a girl, not human. Her skin was silver blue. Her hair floated like it was underwater. Her eyes were closed. She looked peaceful, but the scanner showed her life signs were weak. Alara stepped closer. The pod had alien controls, but she understood just enough to read one word: stasis. This girl was sleeping, or frozen, waiting. For how long? Suddenly, Alara's scanner beeped again. Movement. She turned. Footsteps echoed behind her. Figures in dark armor stepped into the room, alien soldiers with glowing red visors. They raised their weapons and pointed at the pod. "No," Alara said. She stepped between them and the glass. The soldiers paused. One of them spoke, and Alara didn't understand the words, but she knew what they meant. They wanted to destroy the pod. Alara clenched her fists. She was weak. Alone. But she wouldn't run. Not this time. "If you want her," she said, "you'll have to go through me, the princess in the ice." The alien soldiers didn't move. Their red visors glowed in the dim blue light of the underground chamber. Their weapons were locked on the stasis pod, the one holding the strange silver-blue girl. Captain Ilara Voss stood in front of it, her arms spread wide, heart pounding. She was unarmed, weak, cold, her oxygen tank nearly empty, but her eyes burned with something stronger than fear. "No one's dying today," she whispered. "Not her. Not me." For a moment, time froze. Then, without warning, one of the soldiers stepped forward and raised his weapon higher, aimed not at the pod, but at Ilara. She moved fast. Her boot hit a loose metal pipe on the floor. In one swift motion, she grabbed it and swung. The pipe cracked against the alien's helmet, and he fell with a sharp robotic groan. The others fired, blue plasma slicing through the air. Ilara ducked behind the pod. Sparks flew. The pod shook, but held. She didn't know why, but something inside her said this girl was important. More important than anything else in the galaxy. And Ilara had already been abandoned once. She would not do the same to someone else. Not again. She sprinted to the wall, slammed her fist against a panel. A flash of light blinked. A sudden hiss of steam filled the room. Emergency gas vents. Perfect distraction. She grabbed the pod's release lever and yanked it hard. The floor beneath it slid open, and the pod began to lower into the ground on a hidden lift. Just before it disappeared, Ilara jumped in after it. Bullets and plasma flew above her head as the lift sealed shut behind her. Darkness. Only the hum of the moving platform. She landed hard in the next chamber, coughing, bleeding, but alive. The pod sat beside her, untouched. But something was changing. The ice inside the pod was melting. Faint lights danced inside the glass. The girl's fingers twitched. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Her breathing was shallow. Ilara dropped to her knees, exhausted. "Hang in there," she said. "I don't know who you are, but I'm not letting you die here." The chamber around her was different. It was not a lab. It looked like a throne room, ancient, full of strange symbols and carvings on the walls. A large emblem shone in gold above the pod, a circle with 7 stars and wings spread wide. Royalty. This girl was not just an alien, she was a princess. Suddenly, her eyes opened. Bright silver eyes, glowing softly. She looked at Ilara, confused, then scared. Her lips moved again, and this time, the words came through Ilara's mind, not her ears. "You are not one of them." Ilara froze. "No, I'm human. I heard your signal. I followed it." The girl's mind voice was weak. "They betrayed me, tried to erase me. Please, don't let them." The lights inside the chamber flickered. The temperature dropped. Something was coming. The princess gasped. "They are near. The hunters. They found me." Ilara stood up. "Then we run." She checked her scanner. A map lit up, an emergency escape route. It ran through a series of tunnels, ending at the far side of the moon. But it was long and dangerous. She looked at the princess. The girl could barely stand. Ilara placed a hand on her shoulder. "Can you walk?" "I can try." The door burst open behind them, a blast of ice and wind. More soldiers entered, weapons ready. Ilara fired up the tunnel's emergency defense system. Red lasers dropped from the ceiling and began firing. "At the intruders, move!" she shouted. Together, Ilara and the princess ran into the darkness. The walls echoed with gunfire and alien war cries. Each step felt heavier. Ilara's lungs burned. The princess stumbled beside her but held on. Halfway through the tunnel, the princess stopped. Ilara turned. "What is it?" The girl pointed to the wall and a glowing control pad. "I can seal it, but only from here." "No," Ilara said. "You'll be trapped. If I don't, they will reach us both. You must take the message." "What message?" The princess placed a glowing crystal in Ilara's hand. Her voice rang clear now, not just in Ilara's mind, but through the air. "This holds the truth. Of my people. Of what was done. Earth is in danger too. They will come for you next." Ilara didn't understand. "Why Earth?" "Because we are sisters. Not by blood, but by fate." She touched the wall. The gates slammed shut behind them, separating her from Ilara. "No," Ilara shouted, banging her fists on the door. The princess smiled sadly through the glass. "I will find you again. Go now. Survive." Then she disappeared into the shadows, her presence fading with the hum of the seal. Ilara ran, alone again, but not empty. This time, she carried something far more dangerous than a secret. Hope. Hunted, the snowstorm hit like a scream. Captain Ilara Voss stumbled through the icy wind, her arm bleeding and her oxygen low. The alien crystal the princess had given her pulsed faintly in her pocket, warm and alive, as if it had a heartbeat of its own. Behind her, the tunnel had collapsed. The alien soldiers would take time to dig through, but they would come. They always did. She moved quickly through the frozen wasteland of the moon, boots crunching against glass-like snow. Her scanner beeped softly. There was an old structure, not far, maybe an outpost, maybe a grave. She didn't care. She needed shelter. Ilara had lost many things in her life, her home, her crew, her faith, but something about that alien girl had lit a fire inside her again. She had seen the fear in the princess's eyes, and something else. Trust. Ilara hadn't earned it, but she wasn't going to waste it. The outpost was half buried in snow. Broken towers reached up like frozen fingers. It was dead. No power, no heat, but it had walls. She entered through a side hatch and sealed it behind her. She took out the crystal. It glowed brighter now, as if it could sense her fear. "What are you?" she whispered. The crystal flickered. Images appeared in the air. Not holograms, but memories. A vision. A throne room made of glass and stars. Alien royalty standing proud. Then, fire. Screams. Betrayal. The royal guards turning on their own. The young princess being dragged away, locked in the pod. And then, Earth, a map. A route. A name. Sol System. The last line echoed in Ilara's mind like thunder. "They are coming for the humans next." She stumbled back. Why Earth? What had her people done? Before she could think further, her scanner beeped. Loud, urgent. Movement. Outside. She grabbed a broken piece of metal and moved to the window. A ship. Sleek, black, quiet. No lights, no sound. A hunter ship. They had found her. Ilara moved fast, deeper into the ruins. Her breath fogged the air. She climbed through broken walls, ducked under collapsed beams. The crystal pulsed harder, guiding her. Voices echoed through the halls. Not human. Their language was guttural, sharp. She understood none of it, but the tone was clear. Orders. Spread out, find her. They weren't here to ask questions. She needed help. Fast. She climbed into a broken communications room and scanned for signals. Nothing. Dead air. Until, "Ilara?" A voice crackled. She froze. "Who is this?" she whispered. "It's Taryn," the voice replied. "Remember me?" She did. Barely. A former smuggler she had saved once on a cargo run. Half reliable, mostly selfish, but clever. "I picked up your distress code," he said. "You've got half the galaxy looking for you. What did you steal?" "Not what." "Who?" she said. I found a lost alien princess. She gave me something. A memory crystal. There was a long pause. Then, oh no. Yeah, Ilara said. Exactly. Do you have any idea what that thing is? No, she answered. But they're ready to kill for it. And Earth's on their list. I'll send you coordinates, he said quickly. There's a hidden dock in the asteroid belt. You'll need a ride. A ping lit up her map. Coordinates set. Then the comms went dead. Outside, the hunters were closing in. One of them stepped into the room, tall, armored, with glowing red eyes. Ilara didn't wait. She slammed the metal rod into his chest and grabbed his blaster as he fell. More were coming. Too many. She ran, firing as she moved. Sparks flew. Walls cracked. The old outpost groaned under the weight of battle. She could feel it. The whole structure would collapse soon. She made it to a side hatch, activated her suit's emergency boosters, and launched herself into the cold sky. The hunters followed in speedcrafts, firing plasma bolts at her back. She dodged, dipped low, weaving between jagged cliffs. A direct hit knocked her sideways. She crashed hard against a ridge, tumbling in the snow. Pain screamed through her side. Her suit was damaged, she could barely breathe. But then she heard it, the soft hum of a ship approaching. Not theirs. Terran's ship cut through the clouds. Rusty, ugly, but flying. Get in, he shouted over comms. She ran, lasers scorching. The ground behind her. Terran opened the side ramp. She dove in, rolling across the floor as the ship lifted off. Outside, the hunters fired one last time, missing by inches. Inside the ship, Ilara lay on the cold floor, staring at the ceiling. Terran leaned over her, frowning. You look like hell. I've seen worse, she said, coughing. He picked up the glowing crystal from her hand. You realize what this means? No, she said, sitting up. But I'm starting to. Terran looked at her. The girl, the one you saved, she's not just royal. She's the last of their bloodline. If she dies, an empire dies with her. And Earth? Ilara asked. Terran nodded grimly. The same people who betrayed her family. They're working with human leaders. Secret alliances. Trade for power. If you expose this crystal tier, war will start. Ilara stared at the stars outside the window. The cost of loyalty. Terran's ship cut through the black sky like a ghost. Inside, Captain Ilara Voss sat at the edge of the medbay bed, her side stitched, her ribs cracked, her mind storming. In her, and the alien crystal pulsed softly. Each flicker showed her flashes. The princess's terrified eyes, the betrayal of her people, the burning of ancient cities, and Earth's name, always appearing at the center. Terran entered the room with 2 mugs of something hot and bitter. You need rest, he said. I need answers, she replied, staring out the window. Why is Earth involved in any of this? He sat across from her and sighed. The truth? Earth isn't the enemy. But your leaders might be. What do you mean? He took a deep breath. Years ago, Earth signed a secret treaty with the Zareth Dominion, the same empire that killed the princess's family. The deal was simple: advanced tech in exchange for silence. Your people agreed to look the other way while the Dominion wiped out anyone who resisted. Ilara's fingers tightened around the mug. That's not possible. We'd never... You weren't told, Terran said. But someone in Earth's high command knew, maybe still does, and now that you have that crystal, they're probably hunting you too. The ship jolted. Jump complete, the AI said calmly. Arrived at hidden dock. Outside the viewport, a massive asteroid floated in the void, carved hollow-like. A secret bunker. Ships of all kinds were docked inside, rebel crafts, black market traders, and others with no flag at all. This place is off-grid, Terran said. No Dominion patrols, you'll be safe here for a while. Ilara stood. I'm not here to hide. He raised an eyebrow. What then? I need help. Fighters, allies, anyone willing to protect the princess. Taryn laughed bitterly. You think people will fight for a ghost story? For a girl they've never met? Ilara looked him dead in the eyes. I would. And that was enough. They walked into the station's smoky main hall. A crowd of exiles, smugglers, former soldiers, and rogue aliens watched her pass. Ilara didn't. Look away. At the far table sat a woman Ilara hadn't seen in 2 years. Commander Reyna Holt, her former leader, and the one who left her behind. Ilara, Reyna said, voice like gravel. Didn't think you survived. I did. You made sure it was difficult. Reyna leaned back. We had orders. If we stayed, we all would have died. No, Ilara said. You just didn't care who you left behind. Reyna's jaw clenched. Why are you here? Ilara placed the glowing crystal on the table. The entire room seemed to freeze. Reyna stared at it. Her expression darkened. You shouldn't have brought that here. Why not? Because that's not a memory crystal. It's proof. Of war, crimes, betrayals, hidden alliances. If the Dominion knows it's here, they'll burn this station to dust. I don't care, Ilara said. I'm not running anymore. The princess is alive, and she's more than a symbol. She's hope. Reyna looked around the room. The crowd had gathered. Murmurs spread. One of the older rebels stepped forward and a scar across his face, one eye missing. She lives? He asked. The silver child? Ilara nodded. And she's in danger. He dropped to one knee. Others followed. Not in surrender. In support, Reyna stood slowly. You're going to get us all killed. Ilara stared at her. Then help me stop them. You owe me that much. Reyna didn't answer. She simply turned and walked away. Ilara watched her go, and knew this war wouldn't wait for loyalties to shift. Later that night, while planning their next move, Taryn entered the room again, eyes sharp, face pale. We have a problem. What, now? He threw a hologram onto the table. A bounty, Ilara's face, her name, her last known location, marked by both the Dominion and an Earth military faction. Congratulations, Taryn said. You're officially too dangerous to live. Ilara felt a cold anger rise. So Earth really did turn on me. Not Earth, just the ones in power. They don't want the truth to spread. What about the princess, she asked. Taryn hesitated. There's news. Ilara tensed. What happened? She was taken. The words hit like a punch to the gut. What do you mean taken? Reyna slipped out a few hours ago. Took a stolen ship. Someone matching the princess's description was on board. Ilara's blood boiled. She betrayed us again. Taryn nodded. And she's heading straight to the Dominion with the girl. No, Ilara whispered. Not this time. She grabbed her gear, weapons, and the crystal. Taryn grabbed his rifle too. Where are we going? To bring her back. He grinned. Good. I was getting bored. She who speaks stars. The stars were whispering again. But this time, they were speaking directly to her. Captain Ilara Voss sat in the co-pilot seat of Taryn's stolen ship, her hands gripping the armrests, her eyes closed. The alien crystal pulsed, in her palm growing brighter the closer they got to the Zareth border, and in her mind, like a soft echo inside a storm, she heard the voice again. Ilara, they've taken me. But I am not afraid. It was the princess, even across light years, even in chains. Her mind reached out. Her voice was not broken. It was calm, steady, stronger than before. They think I am weak. They think I don't. Remember who I am. Ilara leaned forward. Where are you? A sharp image flashed in her mind. A dark tower on a black world. Red banners. Screams echoing from below. A planet she had only heard of in old war logs, Ravax Prime. A fortress world, used by the Dominion for interrogations and executions. They'll kill her, Ilara muttered. Or worse, use her as a puppet. Taryn turned to her. Then we go in and burn the place down." "You're insane," he smirked. "I didn't say I'd survive." They arrived in orbit hours later, cloaked, silent, floating in the shadow of a dying moon. Below them, Ravak's Prime spun like a bleeding heart, red lightning dancing in its storm-racked skies. The fortress tower rose from the ground like a broken sword. Ships swarmed its perimeter. "Can't land anywhere near that," Terran said. "Too many eyes." "I'm not landing," Ilara replied. "I'm dropping." He turned slowly. "You're going to jump?" "From orbit?" She was already strapping on her gear. "Suit's heat shield is patched. I only need one shot, one window." "You're mad." "Maybe," she said, "but I'm not leaving her behind." The fall was fire. Ilara's body screamed as the heat shield burned through the atmosphere. Wind and flame clawed at her face. The fortress grew larger below, a target painted by memory and desperation. She crashed through a skylight at full speed, rolling across a metal floor, then rose with her gun drawn. Soldiers ran in. She didn't wait. She fired first. One went down. Another tried to flank. She ducked, rolled, fired again. Smoke. Screams. Chaos. She moved like a storm through the corridors, driven by nothing but purpose. The crystal in her suit pulsed brighter, now guiding her through the maze. "Left," the princess's voice whispered in her mind. "Down 2 levels. They are close. But so am I." Meanwhile, deep in the fortress's core, the princess sat in a containment chamber, her hands bound by glowing restraints, her body weak, but her mind sharp. A Dominion general circled her like a vulture. "You think someone will save you?" he growled. "Your people are dead. Your throne is ash. Earth has already made their deal." She looked up slowly, silver eyes glowing. "My people live, in the ones who still remember, and you have already lost." He slapped her across the face. She did not flinch, because even now she felt Ilara getting closer, the thread between them growing tighter. The hunters outside the door hesitated, then fell, one by one. Gunshots, screams, then silence. The door blew open. Ilara stood there, smoke rising behind her. The princess smiled. "You took your time." Ilara stepped forward and shot the restraints. "Get up, we're not done yet." They moved fast. Alarms blared through the tower. Reinforcements flooded in. Terran's voice crackled over the comms. "You've got 7 minutes. After that, I'm bombing the tower." "Make it 5, Ilara said. "We're heading to the roof." As they ran, the princess slowed. "Ilara," she said quietly, "there's something you need to see." She placed her hand on Ilara's forehead. A wave of energy passed between them, and for a moment Ilara saw everything. A hidden chamber beneath Earth's capital, Dominion leaders and human generals shaking hands, Earth's leaders trading names, DNA, and future children for technology experiments, mutations. Human children being tested for alien abilities. "They're building hybrids," the princess whispered. "Soldiers who can speak stars. Like me." Ilara staggered. Her home wasn't just being lied to, it was being sold. They reached the roof as a Dominion warship rose over the tower. "We're out of time," Ilara said. "Terran, already on it," he replied. A missile screamed from the sky, tearing into the warship's hull. Flames burst across the sky. Terran's ship dropped through the clouds. "Jump!" Ilara grabbed the princess's hand. Together they ran. The ship tilted as they leapt, catching them mid-air as the tower exploded behind them. Inside, gasping, Ilara held the princess close. "You all right?" she asked. The girl looked at her, eyes burning bright. The last stand in the dark, silent edge of space war was gathering. Fleet after fleet, ship after ship, the Zareth Dominion's armada had begun to move. Their path cut straight across neutral systems, and in their shadow, fear spread like fire. Every world they passed knew what it meant. They were hunting someone, but Ilara Voss and the Lost Princess were already preparing. inside a hidden rebel ship, now orbiting a fractured moon. Ilara stood at the edge of a long steel table, staring at a map of the galaxy. "This is bigger than us now," she said. Terran nodded. "And spreading faster than we can control." Every screen around them showed the same thing. Uprisings, protests, leaks. Dozens of secret files from the memory crystal had gone viral across the galaxy. People had seen the truth of what Earth's leaders had hidden, of what the Dominion had done, of the experiments on alien and human children, and in the center of it all, a name, Aurelia, the princess who had returned from the dead. She entered the room like a flame in the dark, no longer weak, no longer afraid. Aurelia wore the royal crest on her chest, her silver-blue skin glowing softly in the dim light. Her voice was calm, but it carried power. "They will not stop until one of us is erased," she said. "Either I fall, or the Dominion does." Ilara met her eyes. "Then we give them a reason to fall." Terran looked between them. "You know what you're saying? This isn't just defense, this is war." "It always was," Ilara said. "We just didn't know we were in it. The plan was madness. They wouldn't attack the Dominion's fleet. That would be suicide. Instead, they would strike at its heart, the control station orbiting Ereth 7, a black ops moon base hidden inside a gas giant's rings. It was the source of Dominion communications, strategy, and worst of all, the hybrid program Earth was secretly helping fund. If they could destroy the Central Command AI and leak every file from within, it would shatter alliances, expose Earth's leaders, and cause systems across the galaxy to break away from the Dominion. It would be the first true fracture, the beginning of the end. The ship rocked as they entered Ereth 7's system. Ilara sat in the pilot's chair, her grip steady. Terran loaded the EMP torpedoes. Aurelia stood at the front window, eyes closed, her mind already brushing against the AI's shielded network. "The core thinks it is a god," she said, "but it has forgotten one thing." "What's that?" Ilara asked. "Stars speak to me, and data is just another kind of star." She placed her hands against the control panel, and the ship's systems blinked, opening doors they weren't supposed to, blinding Dominion sensors, hiding them in plain sight. The fortress didn't even raise an alarm. They landed inside a cargo bay. Inside, it was quiet. Too quiet. The halls were empty. No guards. No patrols. "I don't like this," Terran muttered. Ilara nodded. "It's a trap." "I know," Aurelia said. "But we walk through it anyway." They moved fast, deep into the core. As they reached the command chamber, the lights flickered and then a voice spoke. Deep, artificial, cold. "You are not permitted here." A hologram flickered to life, a perfect replica of the Dominion Emperor, towering and golden-eyed. "You were meant to die," the voice said to Aurelia. "You are not a queen. You are a glitch." She stepped forward. "I am the last of my kind. You tried to erase me, but even ghosts leave scars." She lifted her hand. The command systems flickered, sparked, and shut down. The AI screamed. A digital roar, and then came the soldiers. Armored warriors stormed in from every corridor. Terran ducked and fired. Ilara flipped a console for cover, launching a pulse grenade. Aurelia stood in the center of it all, eyes glowing, hands raised, drawing power from every flickering system. "You used stars to burn my world," she whispered. "Now watch them burn yours." The ceiling split open as rebel ships entered from above, led by outlaws and exiles who had once sworn off war, now drawn by Aurelia's signal. A massive battle erupted across the station. Ilara and Aurelia moved. Together, warrior and queen, blade and light. Each corridor they cleared opened a new path. Each fallen guard brought them closer to the core. Finally, they reached it. The AI heart, suspended in a chamber of light and noise. Terran plugged in the memory crystal. "You sure this'll work?" "No," Ilara said, "but it's our only shot." Aurelia placed her palm on the data stream, and then everything slowed. The AI tried to resist, to shut her out, but she wasn't hacking it. She was talking to it. "You have forgotten pain," she said, "so I give it back to you." And, with that, the station screamed, sirens blared, every system went blind. The files began uploading, to every world, every comm station, every device. The truth was free. And the Dominion was bleeding. Terran grabbed Ilara. "We've got 2 minutes before this place explodes." They ran, Aurelia following behind, her body weak again, the connection breaking. A shuttle waited. They launched just as the station tore itself apart. Flames, debris, screams lost in the void. Behind them, 1,000 rebel ships saw the explosion, and in that light a spark was born. On board, Ilara looked at Aurelia. "You all right?" The girl nodded. "I saw them." "Who?" "Your people. The good ones. They're waiting for you to lead." Ilara looked away. "I'm no leader." Aurelia smiled. "Then be what you are, a fighter, and I'll be your voice." Together, they looked out into space. The war was just beginning, but now they had a chance to win. Rise of Two Queens. The galaxy had changed overnight. Across 100 systems, holograms flickered, screens buzzed, secret files downloaded themselves into homes, stations, and ships, revealing everything the Dominion had tried to bury: the massacres, the genetic experiments, the lies. Earth's leaders, those who signed the secret treaty, were exposed. Protests exploded on every colony. Soldiers began abandoning their posts. Rogue fleets switched sides. But the Dominion didn't blink. They called it rebellion. They called it noise. And they promised to silence it. Captain Ilara Voss stood on the deck of a stolen command ship, staring out into the cold dark of space. Beside her stood the girl who had once been locked in ice, now dressed in ceremonial armor, silver and black, bearing her family's crest across her chest, Princess Aurelia, the last of the Starblood line. But today, she was not just royalty, she was a symbol. "How many worlds answered?" Aurelia asked, voice soft but steady. Ilara tapped the screen. 17 systems, half a dozen fleets. Some are exiles, some are rebels. But they're coming. "And Earth?" Ilara hesitated, then nodded. "They're divided. The people support us. But the High Command, they've declared war." Aurelia closed her eyes. "Then we face them all." Far away, at the edge of a dying star system, the Dominion's final fleet gathered. Dozens of capital ships, thousands of fighters. And at their center, the Eternal Spear, the Emperor's flagship. It was larger than a moon, armored in obsidian steel and pulsing with energy stolen from entire planets. Inside, the Emperor stood in silence, surrounded by hollow-eyed generals and corrupted Earth officials. "She dares call herself queen," one hissed. "She's a child," said another, "frozen for a century," but the Emperor raised a hand. "No," he said. "She is more than that. She is the last light, and lights must be broken." The battle began without warning. On the outer rim of the Nerith expanse, Aurelia's allies formed a defensive wall. Rebel carriers, freighters converted into warships, stealth fighters built from scrap. They were outnumbered 5-1, and still, they held the line. Ilara led the charge, her voice on every comm, her presence felt in every squad. "Hold steady. Protect the flanks, follow the spark." The spark. That's what they had started calling her, Ilara. The fighter, the one the princess trusted, the one the galaxy had not broken. Inside the command ship, Aurelia walked calmly toward the bridge, alone. She wasn't afraid, because in her hands, she held more than memory. She held the throne core, the last living artifact of her people's ancient AI language. It pulsed with raw power. It could speak to machines, turn systems to ash, or rewrite them. She raised it toward the stars and whispered, "Let the stars hear our cry." A moment later, The Dominion's fleet systems began to fail. Their comms twisted into noise, targeting locked on friendly ships, engines, flickered. Aurelia's mind pushed through the networks like a windstorm, not destroying, but unraveling. She wasn't just attacking, she was reminding the machines what they once were, free. Inside the Eternal Spear, alarms rang. The Emperor growled. "Launch the Omega Protocol." His generals hesitated. "That will wipe out the system, including our own." I said launch it. Back on the rebel flagship, Ilara received the signal Omega. It was a planet killer. It would erase everything. She turned to Aurelia. "Can you stop it?" Aurelia's hands trembled. "Maybe. If I go into the system directly. You won't survive that." Aurelia looked at her calm. "I know." Ilara stepped forward. "Then I'm going with you." Aurelia smiled. "You don't have to." "I was left behind once," Ilara said. "I swore no one else would be." The two of them boarded a stealth drop pod. It was small, fast, fragile, and it headed straight for the heart of the Eternal Spear. Inside, neither of them spoke. There were no promises. No goodbyes, just a shared silence, heavy and unshakable. They crashed through the hull, fought past elite guards, reached the core chamber. The Omega drive was humming, ready to ignite. Aurelia placed her hands on the control pillars. The lights dimmed. Sparks flew. The ship groaned. Ilara held the perimeter, buying seconds, inches, breaths, and then, a blinding pulse, across space, the battle froze. Dominion ships shut down. Their weapons failed. The Omega drive blinked off, and the Eternal Spear exploded. Silence. Then, across every comm channel, a new signal played. Aurelia's voice. "Not recorded. Live. We are not your enemies. We are your future. No more fear. No more silence. No more chains. From this day forward, the stars belong to everyone." The war didn't end in one moment, but it changed. The Dominion fractured. Earth's corrupt leadership fell. Worlds once silenced spoke out. And at the center of it all, the story of two women spread like fire. One, born of stars. The other, built in fire. In time, they became more than legends. They became leaders, symbols, sisters by choice. Ilara, the shield, Aurelia, the voice. And the galaxy, once broken, began to heal. Together, they had rewritten its future.